India didn't set New Zealand just enough runs to go, but I think to defend, I think India have a little problem. Simon, I'd like to get your view because you were actually there, which is the consistency of 3, 4, and 5. I think when you're playing in India, when Kohli was scoring all those runs overseas, I thought Kohli in the year 18, for example, had 300s that you just went wow over in Perth, probably in Birmingham, I can't remember the top of my head, and definitely one in Johannesburg or in Centurion. But he had 3 wow hundreds. Now, Kohli's not quite got 100 for a while. Pujara's not got 100 for a while. Rahane's got 2, but it's been followed by a few innings that have not been very big. 3, 4, 5. Do you see that as an issue going ahead?
Yeah, look, I think there's got to be a little bit of a concern. I heard the numbers today from our stats guy, and I was quite surprised, actually. I don't have the exact numbers on Pujara, but is it something like 18, 19, 20 innings at least at Test match? It might even be.
Pujara under 30 after that great Australia tour that he had in 2018-19. It was a fantastic tour for him. I think he's averaging late 20s after that.
Yeah, so he's clearly struggling. Virat's now 46, 47 innings in international cricket without 100. Now, I understand that probably 19 or 20 of those are 2020 games. So let's say in one-day cricket and Test cricket, he's 26, 27 innings without a 100. So that's concerning from his point of view. He still averages over 40, so that's not a problem. And Ajinkya Rahane has proved to be very good for the most part away from home and not quite as effective at home. There are players, I think, that are in and around that setup that could easily do the job and possibly be a little more aggressive. And you think of Shreyas Iyer, who's obviously out injured. Prithvi Shaw, does he come into contention for Shubman Gill, who's also really had a pretty poor run of it since that one score in Australia. So there'll be concerns. They can't change too much, can they, for this series? Obviously, Mayank is here. He could be an option to open the batting, I think, in this Test series. But I think they've committed, haven't they, they've committed pretty much to Cheteshwar Pujara and Kohli and Rahane at 3, 4, and 5 for this English series. But 2 tests deep, and it's not working still, then they may have to look at some changes.
There's also third inning syndrome. We've got some numbers to show you that India tend to struggle in the third innings of a Test match. Now, in recent times, against New Zealand, Wellington and Christchurch, behind 183, they lost by 10 wickets, only made 124 in the third innings in Christchurch. That Adelaide Test match never happened. It's been erased from Indian cricket history. The 36 all-out. I mean, whoever knows? They didn't ever go to Adelaide. I don't know. Against England in Chennai, 285. Today, 170. There's an issue batting second when India have got to defend a situation and try and get further. So maybe that's another thing to reflect. The one big difference I thought between the two sides in these conditions here, I think as India go along in August, playing against England in August, September, more tired wickets, this combination might actually serve India well. But the absence of a seam bowling all-rounder, even the role that Colin de Grandhomme played in the first innings, ensuring that New Zealand always had one fit and ready fast bowler, I think that is where India suffered, because you could see Shami was struggling towards the end when he got tired towards the end of the New Zealand first innings. And Ishant Sharma was just sort of jogging in really today.
Yeah. And what are you doing? I mean, my question is always, and I look at that with the New Zealand side time and time again, what is the prime example or the prime reason that you win Test matches? You take 20 wickets. Yes. All right. If you're covering up your batting with a guy because he can bat a bit, who's one of your bowlers, you're doing it wrong. You are doing it wrong. Yeah, I can understand the continued search for a Kapil Dev and a Hardik Pandya and these sorts of players. I get it. But if they're not there, these are conditions where I know Ashwin bowled well in the last day, and he bowled quite tidily for his few overs in the first innings. But these are conditions, and I said it prior to, so this is not me being, smart after the fact. Mohammad Shami should have played. They should have played.
Siraj.
Yeah. Siraj. Mohammad Siraj should have played. They should have played 4 seamers and Ashwin and been done with it, and particularly when we had all the rain and all the weather around. And I do believe that India could then have knocked New Zealand over for under 200 in that first innings and not got to 240, not had a lead of 135, put 220 on the board, different game, different scenario. So the whole thing for me, and you know, and New Zealand have done it. India are not the only team that are doing it. You're picking in turning conditions. That's your best 5 bowlers. I get that. No issue with that at all. No argument. Jadeja, Ashwin, 3 seamers. That's your best team. No problem at all. But in these conditions, they named their team 2 days out. It continued to rain. It was always going to be a little bit green, a little bit helpful to the seam bowlers. And they did. They got tired because they hadn't played a lot of cricket. And they'd only had those intra-squad warm-up games. So they did get tired. So it's no fault of their own that they just looked a little bit leg-weary at the back end after 26, 27, 28 overs. They were always going to.